All right. Thank you. Thank you, Creator. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you, Creator. Thank you, Creator. Thank you. And help me, please. Please help me, Creator. Help me to speak and bless my brethren. Please help me, help me, help me, help me. Help me to bless my brethren. That's all I really care about. That's all I really care about. All the things that you gave me to speak that I thought about from yesterday up till today, last night up till today, all the great ideas that you put in my mind throughout the day, and you tell me to say to my brethren, let me remember everything, everything. These my brethren, my like-minded brethren, so few of us, we're overcoming the world, meaning the time had come for all of us. You picked this time for us to come into the light, to germinate. You picked this time for all of us to begin our spiritual journey. And it ain't real easy because we know in our spirit that it's one hell of a recompense that's headed our way. We realize that you called us into this walk at this time in our life, and we live in a reality where most people, they're calling it, don't seem to come until later on, maybe even after they leave this reality and they're born again, are born into the real life, born into the spirit. So we give thanks that this is the time you called us to begin our journey. And you tell us that it's harder to begin your journey in the spiritual than it is when you're in the physical. So we give thanks for that. We might not know everything that that means, but I know that we believe it, and that one day we will realize the blessing that we had came under, because we were allowed to begin our spiritual journey in mortality, in corporality, in the physical body. And I know that there's an incredible benefit, and we might not realize it right now, but in our soul, we certainly realize it. There's a constant anointing on, I know, my soul, and I'm pretty sure it's true for our brethren, that you've done a great, you really blessed us. You have really done something to us to be able to attain to your word. Not under, we don't claim to understand everything, but you put such an anointing in our soul to keep us going. We just keep going, just keep going. And so I thank you. I thank you that that same spirit is in my brethren as well. So, brethren, thank you for joining me. Mahalia, Elijah, Sharice, and Elizabeth, and anybody else watching this video, thank you for joining me. This is the highlight by far of my day. Man, did y'all hear? We had a big earthquake today. Big earthquake today. I just happened to have an appointment at the VA, and on the way back, we always drive by the Pacific Ocean. You know, out there where the crater sunk Pan, the continent of Pan. I always think about Pan whenever I have an appointment there, and the driver, he likes to drive back, take the route back by the Pacific Ocean. And I always look out there. I say, man, there was a whole continent out there, and the crater sunk it. a whole continent in your mind. You just can't wrap your mind around it. And it was a big, big earthquake today. A 7-point earthquake is huge, brethren. You know, I mean, when the ground, I couldn't feel it because I was in a vehicle, and you don't know if it's an earthquake or it's a bump that you're hitting. Hey, Snap. All right. Sister. All right. Good to see all y'all, man. Thank you, Creator, man. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So when you in an earthquake and you ride in the car, sometimes it's hard to tell because you hit bumps in the road, and an earthquake, it makes the ground jump up and down. I mean, it's the most amazing thing. When I first came out here in 1979, and then I was riding on the bus right as I was getting off work, or what? When was it? Yeah, I had just got off of work, and I used to be a delivery driver at that time, and they were debating whether to send me to San Francisco to do a delivery, right? So they made they at the last moment they said, no, Kurt, we don't need you. You can go home. And so I went home, and I'm on the bus, and that bus started jumping up and down. And I said, man, I like what he's doing with those hydraulics. You know, you ever seen those cars that jump? They can adjust the hydraulics. You know, the late model or the old model cars that are modified, and you know, the car enthusiasts, they like to show off, and they can modify the suspension to where the hydraulics to where it'll go up, it'll bounce up and down, and so I thought that's what the bus was doing. And so I sat there, I said, man, I like what he's, you know, that was like riding on a little roller coaster. And then somebody looked at me and said, earthquake. And man, that's when, now looking at the screen, you can see that I'm a brown man, right? That was the first day in my life a brown man turned white. Man, you know, it was the first time, and you don't want to be anywhere near, you don't want that experience again. The ground, it buckles, and it was tossing that bus up and down. Oh man, you know. And then on top of that, I heard a section of the Bay Bridge had collapsed, and I was supposed to be heading towards that bridge right at about the time that it collapsed. A section of it collapsed, if y'all remember. It was I'm trying to show you on the camera there. It was a section of the bridge, it just collapsed like that. And so I probably wouldn't have gotten to that part of the section, but I would have probably been somewhere near that bridge. And then if y'all remember, there was a stretch of freeway. Now this is what got my attention. If y'all look back at the 19 whatever 83, 84, whenever that thing was, that earthquake, it pancaked you know, out here they got a section, you know, where if you can see the screen, you know, let me try to show you. The top part came down on the bottom part. Now, that was the part that I would have been somewhere near without a shadow of a doubt, man. I would have been somewhere near that. And so you don't see the creator working sometimes till you look back. And so they announced a tsunami warning out here. I mean, right where I am, you know, right out there. It hit like 30 or something miles north in a place called Santa Rosa. Here, let me show you. I'll show you in the map. It hit in map of Santa Rosa, California. Okay, so there's Santa Rosa. There's Santa Rosa right there. Okay, I think you can see it okay. Now, I'm going to make it smaller so you can get an idea of where I think you might be able to see it. I don't know. You can see it right there. I got my cursor right there. Now, if I made it even smaller, you should be able to see where San Francisco is. So that's where I am. And the thing hit up there where my cursor is circling. So that's pretty close to the epicenter. That's pretty damn close, man, for a 7.3. So it hit up there. We felt it, and I would venture to say that they probably even felt it out of state, Nevada, Arizona, maybe a little bit, and they had a tsunami warning, and so people went out there to it's called Ocean Beach, and they were waiting to see that tsunami, and then they called it off. But I'm telling you, man, there's one thing that'll glorify the Creator is an earthquake. If you've ever been in one, Mahalia says she's been in a small earthquake in Tacoma, Washington. She says she could feel, it's the earth start buckling, man. And I tell you, man, that's when everybody, they do two things. They wet their pants and they start praying. Yes, without a doubt, man, you will wet your pants and you will start praying. Them things are terrifying. She says she also experienced a tornado twice. See, but at least you could see a tornado coming. You know what I mean? In Youngstown. Okay, Youngstown. That's where I went to school at. Kent State, a little up north in Ashtabula, and in Macon, Georgia. So you know what I'm talking about. Them things ain't nothing. I mean, the Creator, man. I mean, so I'm sure you brethren, you got stories to tell too about one natural disaster or another that you have experienced. And it seems like the Creator, he allows those things, and a faith is going to think about the Creator. A faith is going to think about the Creator. And the world, I think, they get terrified if they're anywhere near the event, and then they just forget about it. They just forget about it soon afterwards. And events like that, they prove to be a harvest for the beast kingdom, because when people, they get threatened like that with a natural disaster or something, first thing they do is run to the beast kingdom, and they renew their pledges to the beast kingdom. They renew their pledges to the beast kingdom. And I had an appointment today, and while I was waiting for the appointment, the nurse came in and got me. And so we was talking, and she said something like, how'd you celebrate Thanksgiving? I said, I don't celebrate the holidays. And she said, what do you celebrate? I said, you wouldn't know them if you heard of them. And so you could see that I was getting started on OAHSPE, And she said, well, what do you celebrate? And I said, you never heard of them. And then she mentioned God. If you, I'm telling you the truth, man. It's like, I'm just a magnet, man, for these conversations. They just come out of nowhere. And so I said, lady, did you just tell me? She said something like, and it wasn't like God bless you. It was like something, about God. And I said, lady, I said, me. I said, do you believe in God? And she said, yeah, I do. And I said something like, I knew that I was getting ready to go and make the appointment. So I hit her hard. When you don't think you're going to see somebody ever again, you know what I mean? You can just be short and to the point, right to the point. Don't mince any words. Just let them have it, man, because it could be the last time that they ever hear what the words that you brethren have. So I said, lady, who do you pray to? She said, Jesus Christ. And I said, and I kind of said it for shock value, hoping that I could get her to arrest her, make her like stop me and say, why do you say that? I tried to engage her that way, but I could tell just by, sizing her up that she was just talking. She wasn't really thinking about what she was saying. People, how they goes in one ear and out the other. I knew that. I could see it in her. But I still hit her hoping against hope. I said, lady, you if you pray to Jesus Christ and worship Jesus Christ, you are in a lot of trouble. You in a lot of trouble. You a nice woman. That's obvious. It's I could tell, but in this case, that ain't got nothing to do with it. If you do not understand that there's such a thing called I don't have to tell you, brother. You can guess what everything that I'm going to say. And it came time for me to go in and see the doctor, right? And she took me to the room, and it was a perfect time. I was really pulling for her, hoping that she would say, what do you mean when you say what you say? I was hoping, that she would question me, but she didn't. When it was time for me to go in there and see the doctors, and she walked in with me, we had the room to ourselves for a while. And she just, when we got into the room, she didn't question me, or, she didn't, continue to engage me or anything. And, it just make you, people, they talk to you. They just don't, it's like, they don't, the creator don't mean nothing. It's like a fog over this reality, over, he don't mean nothing. Creator don't mean anything, man. I mean, he don't get nobody's attention. He don't get nobody's attention, man. And I was all the time when we went to the room, what I do is I'll throw a little, like, she started it. And so I responded, and I wait for somebody to come back. I don't put it on them anymore unless they ask me for it, because of the dealing I had with my cousin from a while back. I don't let it hang out until they make it clear to me that they want to know what I have to say. And we were in the hallway, we were talking, but then when we got in the room, it's like she didn't, it's like, she just quiet. I didn't say anything, she didn't say anything, and it's just another lesson. It taught me, it was another lesson, man. I had like 3 appointments today. I went up to the laboratory, and the guy there, he got started. He got started about God. God bless you, brother. And I went back, and then I said, no, that's it. I'm finished for today. I'm gonna just hold my peace and keep it to myself. I'm gonna let it hang out with my brethren, but I see that my desire for the world and trying to win the world on my own, that's fast coming to an end, man. And that's fast coming to an end. So it seems like the creator, I love what the the Wednesday or Bible teacher. I love what he said, man. I love what he said. He said, hey, look, he said, one way or another, everybody is going to ascend into the higher light. He said, one way or another, man. It's just like that commercial. You could pay me now, or you could pay me later with the Creator. If you want to take a long time, it's fine with the Creator. He can outwait you. If you want to wake up and you want to get started on your journey, you can do it today. All you got to do is listen to your soul. But it's covered over with mortality. It's covered over with the dainties of life. And so you got a world full of people, nice people, man. I mean, they smile. They're good people, want to help you. At least that's how I look at the world, the people of the world. Engageable, but covered over with flesh. Covered over with flesh, man. It's like, covered over with flesh. All you know is your senses. The things of carnal, the stimuli of the five senses. It's all you know. It's all you know, man. Our Bible teacher, he said, one way or another, he said, everybody's going to ascend. The benefit that faithists have is they hit the road early. The Creator, he come, he say, hey, it's your time. It's time for you, to wake up. Faithists have to wake up at like 3 or 4 in the morning. And the rest of the world, they can get up at like 8 o'clock, get started on that journey. Everybody's going to complete that journey. It's just when the Creator call you, the real blessing is to be called. And while we in the body, Creator, he described the body like a ship, because you could take the time today and stop that inertia, where you go after the lust of your flesh. You go after the corporal, you know what I mean? You go after the carnality. Creator said you can do that. You can get started now. See, that's the benefit of faithists. We have the ability to hear the Creator. Man, I'm telling you, that is, I'm amazed. I'm truly amazed, man. And I pray that you brethren are too, Fritz, right? To be able to hear the Creator, man. I mean, I hope I never, ever get over it. All right. It's time for the soul confirmations. So I'm going to hit y'all with something new, because lo and behold, I was reading last night and I got hit with a blizzard. I got hit with a blizzard, man. I got hit with a I mean, I was about ready to go live again, man. Last night. Now, this is getting out of hand, man. This is getting out of hand. So I found something else in the Radiance anthology. Now, I got it on the screen here. Now, this isn't the first set of affirmations that we usually do. I found a whole nother couple of pages, It's like the Creator said, okay, we got it. We got Yaikwab, we got his attention about the soul, So now let him have it, Make him do his videos on soul affirmation, So you got this right here, what I got on screen. Let me see if I can make it bigger. Now, I wanted to ask you, brother, how I should do it, because remember, I was sharing that there is many ways you can affirm your soul, man. All we really need is to be taught what to say, really. Now, there's like this, what I got on the screen here. It's like almost 100 of them. You know what I mean? Where the creator, through the angels, I mean, he's just laying it out there, man. Now, see, it's time for the affirmations right now. So this is what I think I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take. I'm gonna do 3 at a time. 3 at a time. That means every video we gonna, like we do the soul affirmations. We say like 3 verses 3 times. I'm gonna go through all the soul affirmations. I'm gonna go through all of them, different ones on different videos, because we're basically creating a force. When we do it together, I'm telling you, the creator through Radiance, Anthology, and the angels, he says, remember we read the verse where it says that you are creating a force of your will doing this stuff. The angels, they can work through this and create a vortex, brethren. I mean, I don't know what it means, but it's time for the soul affirmation. So we're going to do what I got up top here. I hope y'all can see it. Okay. Let's do these 3 verses. What I got up top here. Let's do these 3 verses. It's going to be different affirmations for a long time. Different things that we can say. So we're going to do these 3 verses. I hope you can see it okay. Where it starts with my soul and it ends with conscious thought. Okay. So let's do it together. We're going to say this part up top here. I can't highlight it, so I'm trusting that you can see it on the screen. Let's do this 3 times together. 3 times together. What I got here on the screen, soul affirmations. Okay. Let's do this 3 times together on the count of 3. Okay. May the creator bless the reading of the soul affirmations and apply these to the growth of our soul. All right. On the count of 3, let's do all these together. Okay. 1, 2, 3. My soul gives its intuitions of immortal life and its principles to my understanding. Number 2. 1, 2, 3. It says, my soul is alert to receive the wisdom of the wisest immortals and impart it to my understanding. Number 3, my soul gathers the wisdom I desire and pours it into the currents of my conscious thought. Let's do it again. My soul gives its intuitions of immortal life and its principles to my understanding. My soul is alert to receive the wisdom of the wisest immortals and impart it to my understanding. Verse 3, my soul gathers the wisdom I desire and pours it into the currents of my conscious thought. One more time. 1, 2, 3. My soul gives its intuitions of immortal life and its principles to my understanding. Verse 2, my soul is alert to receive the wisdom of the wisest immortals and impart it to my understanding. Verse 3, My soul gathers the wisdom I desire and pours it into the currents of my conscious thought. All right. Thank you, Creator. Thank you, thank you, thank you for this understanding. See, and it's a lot of them, bro. Brethren. I'm gonna tell you, it's a lot. It's like, matter of fact, here I'll show you. Matter of fact, I'll scroll it so you can get an idea. There, I got a couple of files. Look at all this. What I'm gonna show you now. Make sure you're looking at the screen. You can see the screen, okay? Look at all this. Okay. Here's the second part. See, all these things is telling you we're gonna do all this together. Okay. See that? See, this is Radiance Anthology. I think it's page like 510. See, here's some more. Okay, that's the bottom of the page. So let me show you. Let me get the other file out. Show you the other file. Let me show you the other file. Look at all this stuff, man. Okay, I think this is it, part 2. Let me stretch the screen a little bit. And the creator is saying this is how you confirm. This is how you grow your soul. This is how you prepare it to. Let me see. Oh no, that's not the right file. You know what I mean? This is how you. What's a good word for create, affirm, strengthen your soul? This is how you enable the creator to speak to you. Now here's some more. All right, here's some more affirmations. Look at all these affirmations. Okay, just stop the screen when you want to see. These are ones, you could read it and then pick out certain ones, and during the day you can say this to yourself, and the creator says this is how you grow. This is how you speak it, and this is how you grow in your soul. And it also helps you to, let me see, what's a good word for hearing the voice of the creator? This, see, you get the idea now. You just speak the light, man. Whatever comes to your mind, just speak it. Now here's the other side of the page. See where my cursor is? You can just pick, what you want to read. Now I'm looking at the right side, my soul expresses the divine harmony, which will bring health and peace to every part of my nature. I bless these organs with the love of my creator. How do you like that? I bless these organs, you brethren who are afflicted like me, that's a good one to remember, man, my soul abides serene. See, this is why it's important, man, to chase the creator, because this is a lot of good people in the world, I think, but they don't know anything about this type of stuff. They just think that it'll happen automatically. See? So that's that for this file. And there's even more. It's like a whole key has been unlocked with Radiance Anthology. It's like thanks, Elizabeth. I wasn't looking at the screen. I was looking at the file. It's like this unlocks the whole book, and I happen to think that now that Pluto has gone into Aquarius, the creator is like he's preparing you, brethren. Man, I hope I don't like to speculate, the creator, he say he worked through inspiration so that he give you things to say, and you got to trust that. But see, it's hard on me, man, because we live in a world where people subject to spiritualists. I don't want to be one of them, man. I mean, you kind of do, but you don't. It's like you live in a world where people, they be talking all spiritual and, it's all over the place, man. But, yeah, the OAHSPE, the creators say if somebody only believe on me because they see signs, he said, give them what they want, as in saying to lead them astray. If you want to hear something to tickle your ears, the creator said, give it to them, But he said, do the same for the righteous. You know what I mean? And so we live in a world where people, they be talking, man, and, it's the whole world full. You can't prove what they saying, the Spirit gave me this. I got an answer to prayer. I can't stand that, man. I want something more solid. And so the creator said, if they want to worship me because they need to, then they'll worship the sign. Give them a sign. Then let an evil angel answer them. But if they come from a benevolent spirit, he said, answer them according, send one of my righteous sons or daughters. Send one of my righteous sons and daughters. That brother or sister is praying from a benevolent spirit. Answer him the right way. But if somebody want to chase after you, want to tickle your ears, you curious, you want to see it, and you creator, he says, give them, okay, if they're going to worship a sign or a wonder, give it to them to lead you further astray. See how he know how to get at your heart? He know how to, the crazy is where you got to give him praise, man, because you can't fool him. Only you know where you coming from. Only you know where you come, or if you coming from a benevolent spirit, or you want to be able to say you saw something, so you could run and say to people, see how special I am, snake oil salesman, Creator know if you want to run and say, hey, I had a vision. Now you click on the pay link. All right. All you got to do is click on the link to my special page. See, and I'll give you the revelation. See, just click on the link and then join my secret group. And then they start off with one revelation, and then that hooks everybody, and then you can come with all the BS later on, and that's what hooks people. It sounds like the Bible, because them guys, they had to go to school, didn't they? Didn't they have to go to school, prophet school or something? And then they run and they give men a little bit of truth, and then they throw a bunch of self-worship in there. Creator, you can't dupe the creator, man. You can't dupe him, He say if you coming from a benevolent spirit, that means that brother, he making prayers, he praying, man, he craving that his brother will make it, Creator said, answering the right way, give it to him, But then somebody, will you please give me the $1 trillion lottery numbers? Please. Oh, please give me hit the lottery. That's all I need, The world is full of those type of, it's full of that, man. And you think you're duping the creator. I'm telling you, man, you brethren seen it. It's terrible. It's, oh man, you know. Now I forget where I was going with all this. The soul affirmations right here on the screen is a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing. And we live in a world where people, they don't esteem, because this is a lot of reading, you know. They good people. They just really nice. I had that type of mindset where I think most people are just great people, man. You know, good hearted. They spiritual, but they won't read. They won't meditate. Now I don't want to sound judgmental. Let me see. ASNAS, she said, GOCC, the Hebrew Israelites, made me walk away when they started selling Bible info. They have a school called History Times. You know, when I used to talk with, what's that guy's name? The leader. I forget his name. He's a real memorable looking fellow. What's his name? Hasanat, the leader of GOCC. And I forget his name. You know who he is, Hasanat. Rakah, yeah. Rakah. And it was a whole bunch. I was a Hebrew Israelite at the time. And it was a whole bunch of brethren trying to tell that, Rakah, yeah. It was a whole bunch. I mean, it was a real big thing among Israelites when he started talking about moving over to Israel. And I was one of those brethren trying to get him to change his mind and stop him from going out to Israel, moving brethren over there to the desert. And you know, we was trying to show him, you know, where Jesus Christ said, he said that if they say, behold, he is in the desert, go not therefore, because he was ruining. There was some stuff going on, I mean, with women, and there was stuff going on, you know, not to be vulgar, man. You know, brethren was getting out there and they was getting stuck, you know, because they wouldn't support brethren coming out there. And nobody could reach the brother to telling the band, you know, you crushing brethren. They coming back and they pissed off. They got bad attitudes. Let me see. Asa says, I used to be friends with his sister-in-law. He is heavy into the occult. All his followers are being duped. I don't have anything against the occult. I'm into it too. So far as the signs, you know, I don't know how he gets down with it, but you can make it an idol and deity worship too. I don't know what he does, but my dealings with him is we were trying to stop him from going out into the desert, telling people it's time to come back between the shoulders, you know, imminent world war, and this is the only safe place. And okay, I don't know what the left-hand path is, you know, but nobody could reach it. You know, if a man gets a following, man, if he gets a following, he becomes a dangerous man. Man, he becomes that's why I'm you know, man, oh man, you know, if he gets a following, if he gets a vision, he gets a dream, and the crazy say he'll give a man wisdom to keep him away from the light. If the condition of your heart ain't right, man, he'll give you, it says that somewhere in the OAHSPE too. Here, let me go to my room real quick, because I may have posted it in my room. It's almost time for the reading of the word. And what I'm going to do with the reading of the word, I'm going to try to do a like a little recap, you know. What I'm going to do is I got something that I want to share with y'all that I hope will bless y'all. You see, ASAS says, then you are not into the, oh, okay, I see. Okay. Well, I believe in astrology, you know. I don't know if that's the occult or what you call the occult, but I believe in that. I don't know if the occult is something else. I thought it was part of the occult, but I don't know. So I know that. It's not. Okay, ASNES says it's not. Okay. So, man, I'm telling you, a brother, the creator, he said that he'll give some guys wisdom to keep them away from him, to keep them away. I might have it in the room here. Let me see if I can go through some of the verses. I haven't been going through the verses like I have been in the past. I don't think I'm going to do it today unless I find that particular verse where the creator, he says, if a person, he says, they'll give a person a sign or a wonder. He'll answer just like the OAHSPE, it says he'll answer a man according to the condition of his heart. He'll answer a man according to the condition of his heart. If you want vainglory, if you want people to follow you, if you want to be over people, that he says he sends an evil angel to answer your prayer. Here's part of it right here. Here it goes along with what I'm trying to share. Whoever consults the angels without regard to becoming a better man himself, allow him to also become captive to lying spirits. See, that's what I'm trying to point out, man. I'm telling you, you get a guy, man, he gets a little wisdom. First thing he wants to do is put his brethren into captivity. He wants to put them into captivity. He wants to be the leader. He wants to be the head. He wants to, it's a crying shame. This is not the verse I was talking about, but there's a verse where the creator said, if a man, again, man, you don't have a benevolent spirit, if you can't, you'll be answered according to the condition of your soul. Here it is. Here it is. Look at that. Y'all see that? Look at that. And to who, let me make the lettering bigger. Make the lettering bigger so we can see that real good. See? Now, I'm not surprised at all that I clicked off on it. Let's make it a little bit smaller. See? So the creator, he says, see, he knows, man. He knows our hearts. He knows our hearts. Let me find it. No, that's not it. No, I was just there. Here it is right here. See that? Look at that. The creator, he's saying, I know your heart. I know. The only one who can legislate morality is the creator. He says that to whomever worships gods or saviors because of miracles, he said, you shall give them plenty of miracles and signs through unclean spirits and through mortal sarges, mediums of low grade. It says, and the more you shall let spirits of darkness assume to be these very gods, so that mortals can be made to know what manner of evil spirits dwell in their churches and temples. Matter of fact, there's even this might not even be the verse I was really looking for, because it says that let me see if I can find it. I probably can't. I'm getting closer to reading. It talks about the two types of spirits. The man who is heard, both are heard. It depends on the difference is what the way you're answered. The difference is the way Creator will answer you. He said, if you worship gods or saviors because of miracles, you shall give them plenty of miracles and signs. See? And man, I'm telling you, that's the world. You do a sign or a wonder, you got them. You got them. You can do one sign or wonder, and then the rest of your life just make up your own reality. People won't question you because they remember that one thing you did, man. You know, that one magic trick you learned, and you got people hooked, and then you just go on and deceive them forever. Make sure that they come, they're going to be your faithful servants forever. Hey, Nazarene, Fam Lamb, thanks for checking in, bro. Check this one out from Radiance Anthology. Years Slumbering Gods. You, us, we. Now, I don't know if, I don't want to say that about Faithus, but it says the potential wisdom and power of the Creator now within your soul, it's awaiting growth and expression in the same way that the lily is potential is within the bulb. Therefore, your soul is the seed of divinity. Within it is the design of a godlike being of great wisdom and power. This godlike image, this godlike, I think that should be, this godlike image is not now fully awake. Therefore, you are a slumbering God. The ever present, it shouldn't be present, it should be ever present, has organized a self-image of love, wisdom, and will into your soul. Your soul, your immortal self, live and increase in wisdom, power forever. How do you like that? How do you like, you know what? About time for the reading of the word. You can stop the video and read this. Now, you brethren know something comes to my mind I want to show y'all real quick. Let me see who knows what the answer to this is. Now, I'm going to be honest. I think that Elizabeth is going to get this one fast. I think she might win this. Her ace in that, okay? It's competition, all right? Let me see who answers this first. What does it say on Donald Trump's red cap? What does it say on Donald Trump's red cap that he wears? As I'm scrolling, what does it say on Donald Trump's? Put in the acronym. Don't spell it out. Just put the acronym. What does it say on Donald Trump's red cap? She got it. She did it. She didn't put it in the acronym, though. So the question is still out there. Somebody can get in there and take and get the golden cookie, okay? Because Ace of that. Oh, that's funny, man. Oh man, that sister is funny, man. Oh, okay. So you and Mahalia get the golden cookie, okay? Elizabeth, you didn't you lost by default, Elizabeth. Now she gonna put it in there. Now I wanted the acronym. Now check this out. Have y'all ever seen this in Radiance Anthology? Or no, wait a minute. Did y'all know that this is in OAHSPE? Did y'all know that? Look at this verse right here. Y'all look at that. Now I know it's not talking about, ain't that a trip? Look at that verse right there. Check that out. It make you wonder, don't it? Y'all see that? That's a trip, ain't it? MAGA in the OAHSPE. And then he says, I will make every community a double from the, now I'm jumping in the middle of a thought. It says, I will make every community a double from this time onward, and one shall be called MAGA, and the other one shall be called Minga. And then look what he says. He says, MAGA shall be my promoted laborers who are now being prepared for the second resurrection. Is that not a trip? It's not a coincidence, is it? You know what I mean? It seems like Trump he's a sign. See, Nazarene says, Oh, Jehovah, help us to keep our thoughts pure today and our souls full of love and tenderness. Oh, ever-present creator, Jehovah, worlds without number, so be it. So, isn't that amazing? Oh, it's time for the reading of the word. Okay. I just thought that was interesting. Here it is again. And then I said, now, isn't it quite interesting that Donald Trump's motto is MAGA? And MAGA's labor shall be in concert with Moab. Now, Moab was a heavenly realm, right? Moab? Where the council, where they sat, the heavenly council, the house of Jehovah. But Minga's labor shall be as before, with individual affairs and the organizing of new places for the delivered young spirits, Essenes, who are the fruit of the Lord's and their kingdoms of the earth. So I just think it's interesting what the Creator says about MAGA. I just, it just ain't no coincidence. I think the Creator is speaking to us and telling us, that he's using contemporary events to let us know, don't think that I don't know what's going on, So, time for the reading of the word. Let me do a couple more verses. You can stop the video if you want and read what I got here. I have a lot of catching up to do with the verses that I'll be posting. I really wanted to get to this one. I wanted to break this down a little bit. Or where is it at? I asked AI a question. I think, let me see, where is it at? I think it's this right here. I asked AI a question. Or shoot. Yeah, here it is right here. I can't get to it now because it's time for the reading of the word. Why is the kingdom of God better than the earthly kingdom of man? So this is what I asked AI. Well, you can read that if you want. See, the reason why I asked it, because earthly, the spirit, as I see it, the spiritual kingdom, we're going to serve one another. I don't know if there's any such thing as money where you could enslave your brother. I think if the Creator, he puts a gift in you to be a doctor, you're going to be a doctor for free. If he puts a gift in you to be, you know what I mean, catch my drift, a farmer, you're going to be a farmer for free. Now, I could be wrong, but it sounds like that's the kingdom that mankind, he doesn't know is coming. He doesn't know it's coming. It'll be a kingdom where I don't know if it'll be buying and selling. And so if you have a brother who has a specialty in this area, he ministers for free, and his needs are taken care of by the rest of the community. I think that faithists are going to be gifted with spiritual power, and that the things that we pay for, trade, because it'll be a kingdom of righteousness. See, down here in summary, the kingdom of God offers a perfect governance structure based on spiritual virtues, personal responsibility, and universal harmony. which stands in stark contrast to the fallibility and transient nature of human governments. ASNS says, yes, the barter system sounds like it comes from Jehovah. Yeah, because to serve one another is better than capitalism by far, man. No one goes without. And there's people with abilities and they minister for free. They minister for free. It sounds like the kingdom of God to me, where nobody goes without. You got people in this reality, they can't afford medicine. You know, you got people, and I think that we're in a time where we ain't going to recognize the world we're going to live in. Our elevation, our spiritual elevation, I think is going to make this time that we live in that we'll be oblivious to it. Free energy. I mean, you name it. Now it's time for the reading of the word. So what I'm going to do is go back to what we've been looking at the last couple of days. And I'm going to read the parts that I have not read. There are 2 more pages that I haven't read that I'm going to cover today. And basically, one thing I really wanted to say was all the numbers that we have been looking at. This time I'm gonna really blast through them. Okay, I said I was going to do it the other time. I'm gonna do it this time because I want to show you something that you, brethren, you can do on your own. You could take all these numbers and just use like a template of how to see the creator in these things. You could use like all right, now this was I think the second page. And what I want to point out is like it mentions times, like, you take these numbers that you see. Now the principle is that it was showing us that the cyclical nature of things. We're in the cosmic era now. It said that when cosmos started out, there was like 50 years basically of a high time of high light, time of a lot of light, spirituality reaping a big harvest. The Fox sisters causing people to think spiritually. And then after that, it's described as a vortexian tide with, hold on a second. I gotta get some, gotta plug nose. Hold on. Okay. You could take all these numbers. You could take all these numbers we've been looking at. And just keep this in mind. All you got to do is just keep this in mind in order. Bronze Yogi. All right. Man, we really got a full house tonight. Oh, man. Good to see you, brother. Thanks for checking in, man. Thanks for checking in. All these numbers we've been looking at, brethren, it either shows you a cyclical nature of a time of like, it'll show you time of light, great light, and low light. And what you could do is you could take all these numbers and just add or subtract from 1848. That's what it's all about. These numbers here, like this first little sentence right here, it says, when Cosmin first began, it was accompanied by a dawn of Dan of approximately 35 years. Okay. So you can take 1848 plus 19. You can take 1848 plus 35 years. Now, remember, the Fox sisters, they were on the scene back then. They basically got the thing started. Creator used them. They was introducing the world to spirituality. And Creator says that it lasted approximately 35 years. 35 years duration. So you brethren here, y'all can take these numbers here, and then you can go back and look at history and see what happened. You should be able to see like a time of like, because with the light, it increases, the spiritual understanding increases, but also the darkness is what we've been seeing. And then you can go back and look at history, and you can say, man, the angels, this book has got an anointing on it. It's clearly showing us the cyclical nature of things. When there's a time of high light, there's a time of great learning, but there's also a time of increased wickedness too. We looked at the roaring 20s. Remember down here? I think it's 75 AK down here. I don't know if you can see my cursor. It talks about 75 AK. You just add that to 1848 and look at what you get. I think you get 1923, if I'm not mistaken, right? And then you look at where it leads you to. It leads you to the roaring 20s. Radiance Anthology said it was a time of great light and a time of debauchery too. Mahali, she pointed out some characteristics of what was going on with the women, and with the alcohol. It was a time of high light and a time of low light, in the sense that it was at the same time there was a great enlightenment going on. There was also debauchery at the same time. See, you could take all these numbers here, and then just add them to 1848 and look what happened during that year. And it should show you like a time of increased light or a time of the events of that period should show you the angels working. What they had to work against, or a time when they were able to work, like it says up top here, more smoothly, with some peaks higher than others lower. And then that way we could look at the future too. And we could prophesy. Because basically, it's, from what I can see, it seems like everything runs in cycles of like 40 to 50. You just take these numbers here and you add it to 1848, and it brings you to periods of time where it should show you how the angels, the success that they had and the defeats that they had, because struggling to raise up mortals is not easy. It's not easy. The angels, they got to slug it out for us, to inspire us to learn, to elevate in our spirit. Our ashars, they got work to do, man. They got a heavy responsibility. So I wanted to show you all that real quick, and then let's look at the other file and let's see what it had to say real quick. Let's revisit that as well. Well, let me see. Part 3. Let's look at that. See what it was. Part 3. Look at that real quick. Recap it real quick. Because it's so important to get this, man. Because the creator, it's like he's saying, your soul, you work on it. Do some, make it so that you can be familiar with listening to it, because that's how I'm going to talk to you. See, Asaph says we're like rebellious stepchildren to the angels. I think some of us are. Like what we read, it said that we are slumbering gods. What I was sharing earlier, I think that there are even faithists who are slumbering. I mean, don't want to learn. You say to yourself, yeah, I can attain to the voice. I can hear the voice, Yeah, I'm a faithist. Yeah, I can see that, But then you just stagnate. You get tired, you're bored, you heard it all before. You don't want to put the work in, man. And I don't think it should be looked at as work. I just get a kick out. I think that everybody feels like I do, man. Just get a kick out of this word. I just think it's amazing. But I don't want to sound naive. I realize that, you know, I realize that some brethren, they probably have problems. You know, they get weary, the journey that they on. They want to be free of the struggles, the afflictions of the corporal body, and want something new, want something more glorious. And the Creator, He's telling us that that's where we're headed. And some brethren, they may get tired, and you know what I mean. And so it's a struggle. And but I think we're maybe you got brethren who slumber, or maybe you feel like you've done enough, and you can just take it easy and just fall back on your leaves, sit on your behind, and stagnate. So looking at this right here, it talks more about the cyclical nature of the time period between the Danhas, the time of Dan and the Danha, the subcycle from 2025 to 2049, and because there's a time of another subcycle that we are going to, and I think 2025, it represents the subcycle that where the light, it just keeps on increasing, but the darkness is going to increase too. But the light's going to be a separation. So maybe if I just scroll it, because I want to get to the final, I want to make sure I read the final 2 pages, so I can just scroll this a little bit, and we can refamiliarize ourselves with basically what it has to say about Cosmic. And this is so reassuring, man. We need this type of encouragement. It's basically letting you, the angels are basically letting you know, hey, look, we sitting here telling you about what's been in the past, what's been in the past, what's going down in the present, and what's going to come in the future. The part that I think I'm getting ready to read is going to talk more about the future. And so when you realize that, it should encourage you. We need encouragement, man. We need hope. We need to eat that type of, the world, they eat corporeal food. We need spiritual food. We need the OAHSPE. We need Radiance anthology and other works that are out there. So, but it's a tragedy, man, that, I know that brethren, they lay down too, We read that, matter of fact, here in Radiance, where it said that, it says something to the effect of, I forget. It said something to the effect of, shoot, I can't remember now. I wanted to say brethren who are stagnating. Okay, so let me just scroll this so I can get to the, you can read that. At the same time, in cycles of light, we also inspire spiritually, as evidenced by our communications of OAHSPE, cycles of light. They're saying that they inspire. One of the ways they did it is they gave us the OAHSPE, allowing us to read from heavenly libraries. Yeah, inertia, Elizabeth. Yeah, that's a good word. The inertia of maybe that's beginning to slow down. Well, I don't know if you meant it the way I'm describing it, Elizabeth, but inertia is kind of like force, momentum, inertia. OAHSPE says that that's the hardest part right there, just getting that inertia going, and then you're just going to keep moving. Like guys who run out of gas and they get out and push the car. Hardest part is just to get it going. And then you see them kind of walking it down the road. Same for us. It's just get going, getting just one foot in front of the other, and soon you'll be walking out the door. Remember that song in Frosty the Snowman? put one foot in front of the other. At the same time, cycles of light. We also inspire spiritually, as evidenced by our communications of OAHSPE from our heavenly libraries. I remember seeing a near-death experience, and some lady said she saw a library, and the books were about anything that came to your mind. You know, she said that it was about, she saw a library, and it's like the books were about, I can't even describe it. It was about your mind or something, you know, where you would spend all day in there learning about yourself, you know, your life, why this would happen, why that happened. Now, we don't know. I mean, this was an experience. You know what I mean? We can't really prove it. She was testifying of an experience. I don't know. It sounds like it could be. See, Elizabeth says, from video about inertia, you may like what you're saying. Okay. Akashic records. Yeah. She could have been describing that library, the Akashic records. All right. I want to get to the other part, and then I can double back to this. Let me get through the reading, the whole thing on the special session, and then we can double back. And then we could do like see what more we can get out of it, you know, with the OAHSPE and Radiance, and really with anything, man. You got to chew on it, you know. You got to go over it and over. You get deeper levels of understanding. Now, let me see. We read this. Now, do I want to go over this again? This was the part where it talked about how they work with us. It says, in Jehovah, he spoke to the masses, supplemented by the constant and tireless overshadowing of his inspiring hosts, who labor under the direct supervision of God and his high council to a carefully constructed end. I'll scroll it because I want to get to the final part. It might have been only like one file left. So let me kind of scroll it, because I'm going to go over this. I'm going to rehash this, okay? So that we can get deeper levels of understanding. You read something over and over again, man. Spiritually, the spirit will work. And you will, and I'm going to open up cosmogony and prophecy at some point. I know that I'm headed for dealing with that. I'm going to deal with that. I've avoided it because I'm not good with numbers and math, and my mind won't let me comprehend the universe yet, in the sense that it's hard for me to even comprehend the sun, where it rises, and how the planets move. It's hard for me. You know, I'm not, it's like, that's the beauty of the Creator. Some of you brethren, you know, I remember one brother was telling me, I think it was Prince Judah, you know, his little 4 or 5-year-old niece asked him about the movement of the planets. You know, I mean, it's like, brother, we got different gifts, you know? And anyway, you know, I'm going to tackle that at some point. I just got to apply myself. I want to be able to speak on it effectively for the sake of being able to bless brethren with, you know, greater light. So I'm just kind of scrolling it. Consider the seemingly inconsequential peak at 100 after cosmic. Now, 100 years after 1848 brings us to 1949, which is our 2048, or no, wait a minute, 1848 plus 100 is 1948. Now, let's see. That was the end of the war. That was the end of the war, World War II, right? Here, Radiance Anthology says it was a seemingly inconsequential peak, 100 years after Cosmic. It would seem to be of little importance, talking about the period around World War II, the end of it. It said, but when one considers that the relative intensity at this point was 70, so it was a great time, the intensity of the light was 70. Now, if I'm not mistaken, that's way up there, you know? The intensity at the time of the end of World War II was 70. While only 10 years previous, the roaring 20s, around that time, it was at minus 450, a steep decline. But it was still pointed to as a time of a great spiritual light. The surge was intense indeed. Let's see, Asenath says, talking about Prince Judah, it says, this need sounds like the children incarnating with the karmic release of the Mazarop. As usual, Asenath saying things I can't understand. But to me, it sounds like the new generation is going to be way more advanced. I mean, with the faith influence going out, the children are going to be way, way ahead of the Uzian's children. Okay, so let me read the part I haven't read yet with special session. Let me go to the part I haven't read yet and make sure that I get this in, and then I can double back, and then we could go over the whole thing again so that we can bless our soul and glorify the Creator, and how he's able to give the instructions to his gods, and then they give it to the angels, and then the angels pass it on to us, what they want us, how they're going to move us towards elevating in our spirit. Now, without reading the page before, now I got to go back. Let me see. Yeah, let me go back and read the previous page so we can hit this new. We can hit this new and last page. We can hit it running in place. So let me go back to part 5. What does it say at the bottom? It said, change is waiting in the wings. Now, have I read this part? I got enough time, so let me just pick out a part where I think I left off reading this. Okay, let me start down here. It says, it is often, and may the Creator bless the reading of his word. So let me pick up a little bit of context before we get to part 6. There's 6 parts of special session. So let's read this. See what we got. Stretch the screen here. Okay, we already read this, so let me go back over again so we can hit the next page with some rhythm. So it says, it is often the relativity of light or degree of spiritual change that makes a greater impact on mortal events and attitudes. Consider the seemingly inconsequential peak at 100 after Cosmic, 100 years after Cosmic. That was the end of World War II, around that time. It would seem to be of little importance, but when one considers that the relative intensity at this point was 70, while only 10 years previous it had been at 450, the surge was intense indeed. So let me chew on that just a little bit. Okay, now 100 years after Cosmic, the light was at 70. Now, on a scale of 100, that's pretty high up there. 10 years before, it was at minus 450. That's back in 33. Because that's when the war was, it was heating up. It was reaching a climax. It started, that was the rise of Adolf Hitler, right? And it describes it as a time when the light was at minus 450. That's a great darkness. The surge was intense indeed. If I'm not mistaken, if I'm reading this right, it says the intensity of this new light left a substantial imprint on the newborn at that time. So the people who came after World War II, where the light was at an intensity of 70, is basically saying the newborn at that time, most especially those born between 97 after Cosmic to 103. So that's like the 1920s to the 1940s, 50s. That's our parents and grandparents. The newborn at that time, most especially those born between 97 to 103 after Cosmic, with the effect of having a greater psychic sensitivity and an inclination towards spiritual influences. It says this, of course, does not apply to all newborns at that time, for many factors influence the quality of a birth. How do you like that? The Lewis, they put us together, remember? They put our parents together for our sake to create Thetis. Those, however, who were born with favorable parental influences during gestation and subjected to a favorable environment were to be much more telepathic and mediumistic when compared to children born at other times in recent history. It was this influence in part that led to many of the startling contrasts in the vicinity of 120 years after Cosmic. Let me see, that was the summer of love, right? 120 years after Cosmic. Meaning our parents and grandparents, it produced a lot of, they were more enlightened. They were enlightened. I'm trying to find a good word to, let me change the screen here. If I'm not mistaken, it's saying that our grandparents, our parents and our grandparents, they had a high degree of looking for a good word for spirituality. Let's see, what have I got here? Oh, this is the wrong, I'm reading the wrong screen. Or am I? No, I'm not. Sorry about that. I changed screens and forgot where I was. So it says that it's basically saying that the intensity of this new light from the time of our parents and grandparents, it left when it was at 70, the effect that it had was it gave our parents and grandparents a substantial imprint on us, or I should say, at the time of our parents and grandparents, the time of light at that time left a mark on our parents and grandparents. They were the newborn at that time. It said most especially those born between 97 and 103. 97 years after Cosmic to 103 years after Cosmic. So that's like the late 1800s or even the 1900s to the mid 1900s, if I'm not mistaken. With the effect of being a greater psychic sensitivity and inclination towards spiritual influences, meaning our parents and our grandparents were under great spiritual influences. This, of course, does not apply to all newborns at that time, for many factors influence the quality of a birth. Those who, however, were born with favorable parental influences during gestation and subjected to a favorable environment were to be much more telepathic and mediumistic when compared to children born at other times in recent history. So the time of our parents and grandparents is saying it produced a great harvest of telepathic and mediumistic people when compared to the children born at other times in recent history. It was this influence in part that led to many of the startling contrasts in the vicinity of the Summer of Love. I think that's Summer of Love. Let's see, 120 years after 1848 is 1949 plus 20. Yep, the Summer of Love. It says it was this influence, talking about our parents and our grandparents, and the level of light they had. It was this influence in part that led to many of the startling contrasts in the vicinity of 120 years after Cosmic. Startling contrasts. Whereas basically, if I may try to translate, our parents and grandparents, they kept their clothes on. But the children of the parents and grandparents took their clothes off and called it spirituality. If you know what I mean, you know, it was a startling contrast that we saw. You know, you look at black and white films, you'll even see a guy wearing a shirt and tie mowing the grass. You know what I mean? You'll see a dude working in a coal mine in a three-piece suit. You know what I mean? There was a sense, man, I mean, of a greater degree of civility and discipline, it seemed. That was the production that the light had on our parents and grandparents. But you get down to the 60s, you know. Yeah, morality. Thanks, Ace and F. Yeah, a change in morality. But they called it spirituality. You know? You know, everybody sitting down, smoking weed, you know, half naked. You know, free love. You can just freak out any old kind of way you want. And they call it spirituality. It said when the next wave of light peaked, which is summer love, the interest of youth in spiritual discipline was notable. Through the lack of spiritual sophistication and grade, the lack of spiritual sophistication and grade led many into baseness and corruption. This is summer of love compared to the roaring 20s and the time of beginning of World War II and the end of World War II. Baseness and corruption was the summer of love. They called that spirituality. It said similarly, the smaller peak at the end of Dan, near 50 years, the smaller peak is like if you picture a stock market chart, you see where the line goes way up high, like one mountain higher than the other. It's saying the smaller peak at the end of Dan, so you picture a smaller mountain, whereas over to the left, it was a big, large mountain. And then it went down, and then it went up, but not as high as the mountain on the left. It says the smaller peak at the end of Dan, near 50 years after Cosmin, had influenced those born at that time in such a way that by 70 to 75 after Cosmin, many of these individuals became interested in things spiritual. At the same time, their lack of sophistication and grade led them in licentiousness as well. So that's around the time of the Industrial Revolution, I think. Let me see. Elizabeth says, where does it say first it happens in the spirit world? Then 4 years later, it happens in the corporal world. Oh, that's a good question. Where is that? It's the first part. Yeah, it's the first part of Radiance anthology that I did. It's like, I think the second part, the second file that I read, part two, well, today is part two. I named it part two, but it says spiritual events. It usually happens like 5 or so years before earthly events, is what Elizabeth is talking about. Spiritual and then physical. Now, it says similarly, the smaller peak at the end of Dan, near 50 after Cosmin, had influenced those born at that time in such a way that 75 years after Cosmin, many of these individuals became interested in things spiritual. And at the same time, their lack of sophistication and grade led them into licentiousness as well. Oh, shoot, man. I'm running out of time. Oh, shoot, man. Oh, man. Okay, let me see. Now, how long was it? 70 years after Cosmin. 75 years. Online calculator. So it says 70 years after Cosmin. Let me see. 1848 plus 75 equals 1923. Oh, okay. The Roaring 20s. I should have known that. Shoot. Okay. So it's saying here, the difference in morality. Yeah. How it was internalized from one period of time to the other. And how we look back, we say that they were unsophisticated in the sense that their level, their grade was lower than ours, because ours, with time, it gets higher. And, man, now I got to move, man, because I really want to get to the next part. It says, many of these individuals became interested in things spiritual. And at the same time, their lack of sophistication and grade led them into licentiousness as well. Change is waiting in the wings, as you may infer from the graph given to you. The current decline will bottom as this corporal decade draws to a close, and will be on a steady decline till the next Dan has passed. Okay, now we're going to go. Now we're going to go to the final file. Wait a minute, let me read. So it says, The current decline will bottom as this corporal decade draws to a close and will be on a steady incline till the next Dan has passed. Now, shoot, I'm missing something here. Oh, okay. It says, this sudden 10-year, now I'm on a new page, the last page. The sudden 10-year increase in intensity will stir the masses. And if you think the pace and complexity of life has been intensifying at an alarming rate over the past 20 years, you will be awed by the next 10 from 143 to 153. Okay, now how many years is 143 after 1848? They said we're going to be awed. So what year did it begin? Plus, let's see, 1848 plus 143. Okay, what year was 143? So 143. 143. Okay, 1991. So the question becomes, what happened in 1991? Okay. Yeah, thanks, Elizabeth. No, 143. 143 to 153. It said that we were going to be awed. Now, 1991, I don't know of anything notable in 1991. Oh, wait a minute. See, 18. Now, let's do 153 years plus 153. What year does that bring us to? 2001. So it said that it was going to be a noticeable time. A noticeable time. A noticeable time. It said, and if you think the pace and complexity of life has been intensifying at an alarming rate over the past 20 years, you will be awed by the next 10 from 143 to 153. No, 153, Elizabeth. 153. I didn't change the screen. Let me read it again. And if you think the pace and complexity, so this was written like before 1991. Actually, shoot, it gives you the date. And I didn't put that in here. So we can suppose that this was written before 1991. So before 1991 is saying, if you think the pace and complexity of life has been intensifying at an alarming rate over the past 20 years, that's 1971 to 1991, you will be awed by the next 10 from 143, that's 1991, to 153, that's 2001. Okay, we all know oh, she got it. She got it. Mahalia, look at her post. And boy, is that right. Because ever since the war on terror began, it's been nonstop, even till today. It says there will be an increase in mortal conflicts over many parts of the globe. And at the same time, there will be great changes in the spiritual attitudes and aspirations of mortals. As a response to the surge in the Vortexian tide, our angel emissaries will be working hard but silently behind the scenes to help prepare for the social changes that will follow over the end of the 2nd century, 150 to 200 years after cosmic. By then, the world as you know it will be quite different. Now, you guys know what this period is, right? 150 years. Somebody put in the chat 1848 plus 150. What year does that bring us to? Y'all know what 200 years after cosmic is. You know that. I know you know that. What is 150 plus 1848? What year was that? 1848 plus 150. What year was that? It says for the social changes that will follow over the end of the 1996. 1996. Now, I'm out of time, so I can't go. See, I'm going to go back over all this, okay? I'm going to flesh all of this out, okay? I'm out of time now, but wait a minute, Elizabeth, my spirit is saying you got something wrong. I think you got something wrong. 1848 plus 150 equals. Okay, yeah, you're right. Or no, wait a minute, ace of that. Yeah, okay. 1998 to 200. Okay, Radiance is saying social changes. Now, I don't know what happened in 1998. I'm going to go back and look at all these years, and I'm going to take my time and get on the internet and see what I can find, the years and what happened, because the angels are telling us there's going to be noticeable changes. Okay. It says by the end of the 2nd century, 150 to 200, of course, we all know 2048 is 200 years after cosmic. Or is that right? Let me see. 1848, 1948, 2048. Yeah. And it says by 2048, the world as you know it will be quite different. We cannot elaborate on that statement. That will be reserved for a later date. Have no fear. We will give you what you need to know. When the time is right, you must understand that some things you are unable to receive because of your mindset is not yet right. Other things we cannot convey for security reasons. You must realize that we do have opposition from a variety of sources, and we must take care not to betray our plans to our disadvantage. They don't want to let the false gods and lords and angels and spirits know what they're going to do. So they can't tell us right now. And my spirit is saying what they're going to do is this verse right here. This just came to me. So let me share it. And Creator, I pray I'm not deceived. Now, this is what just came to my mind. Christ in you, the hope of glory. King James Version. Okay, now I don't believe in the narrative that Jesus Christ of the New Testament. I know it sounds weird. I can't go into it right now. But it seems that this is what the angel is telling us right here. This is the secret that the enemies of the angels, they can't tell us. And I think that this is the thing that they can't tell us. To whom God would make known what is the riches of the glory of this mystery among the Gentiles, which is Christ in you, the hope of glory. Now, that should be like the Creator in you. We're learning about the soul. We're learning about elevating in our spirit. We're being prepared. We're being made a clean vessel, learning to take care of our soul, minister to it, grow, listen to it. Now, again, I'm going to say this. I could be wrong. I'm going to make sure I get that out there. I could be wrong. I'm just sharing what came to my mind. That is what they cannot betray to their disadvantage. We are concentrating all our efforts from now and through the next 15 years to ensure the results we have envisioned to follow at that time. Though most of you, dear mortals, will have little awareness of the intense activity building now on our plateau of the blossoming presence, as we prefer to call it, yet we will become increasingly active as the lower node of our present wave of light turns about and climbs energetically ever upward until the dawn of this subcycle, Dan, is reached near 200 after cosmic. We will be pressing ever closer upon the consciousness of mortals so that the new consciousness and new awareness will also begin to dawn upon the minds of mortals. See, that sounds like Christ in you, the hope of glory, which really should be the creator in you. Near the dawn of the 2049 harvest. Now, wait a minute. I think I got that wrong. I'm going to get some understanding on that. I'm putting it out there, and I know I'll get corrected. Creator will correct me. It says a new wave of benevolence. That's Pluto going into Aquarius. A new wave of benevolence will begin to awaken in their hearts and lead them toward a degree of compassion. And I think it's speaking of the kingdom of man. A new wave of benevolence will begin to awaken in their hearts and lead them onward toward a degree of compassion and longing for the blessings of peace, unlike it has ever been experienced before. More and more people will put away the bloody practice of slaughtering and consuming the decaying corpses of Jehovah's helpless creatures. And as their numbers begin to grow exponentially, talk about the animals, when people turn to veganism, so will their renewed interest in the truths of the spirit be awakened as well. So as people get away from eating meat, their spiritual self is going to be awakened. Their spiritual hunger is going to be satiated as they get away from flesh eating. It says, be perceptive and watch the signs of the times and see the touch of our hand in the decades ahead. For out of the clouds of contention and turmoil will Holy Cosmic Day emerge. That's a holiday we're supposed to be celebrating. I forget what it is. I think end of November. I'm not sure. It says, it will blossom and give fruit to a world unlike that which we have known in the past. We, your angelic mentors, will come forth and speak to the children of Cosmic in ever-increasing numbers until all the falsehood and darkness of ages past are washed forever from the face of the planet, and until the Lamb of Peace can find rest among the proverbial lions and fear not. And then the note says the units used to express light and darkness on the graph are merely relative proportions of grade and had no specific value as such, though we sometimes hear them referred to as lumens instead of the cumbersome term units alike. Okay, now. Oh, okay, thanks, Elizabeth. Cosmic Day, March 31st. All right, so I'm going to flesh out, believe me, brother, I'm going to go back over all of this. I ain't going to leave no stone unturned. Go ahead and post a verse, Nazarene. The soul confirmations. Hold on. Let me see. Hey, Nazarene, hold on for a second. We got to do the soul confirmations. So let's do that. Let's do the soul confirmations. Hold on. Let's do the soul confirmations. I'm going to do it from the new list from the one we did earlier. So let's do this real quick. I'm going to pick I'm going to do the old set of 3 so we can get it good down in our spirit. Let's get it. Let me see. So let me bring Let me let's do the soul confirmations. Let's do the same ones we did at the beginning of the video. Get a good Vortexian tide going, a good wave going. See, that's not what I had earlier. Let me find what I had earlier. Hold on a second. Let me get the one that I used earlier. Okay, let me bring that up. Okay, so let me see. I think I clicked off of it. Now you want to fight, right? Now you want to fight. Now you want to fight me. Or no, I'm still sharing. Okay. Let me see. Now, which one was it? I think it was this one. Was this it? No, it was the other one. It was the other one. It was part 2. Part 2. Wow. You guys are really, you don't want us to do the soul confirmations. Why are you fighting me so much? Why are you guys fighting? Why are you fighting me so much? Okay, here it is. All right, let's do this 3 times together. It's the same ones we did at the start of the video, okay? Let's make it a little bit bigger. Make sure we can read it. Okay. May the Creator bless the reading of the soul confirmations. Okay. Ready on 3. 1, 2, 3. My soul gives its intuitions of immortal life and its principles to my understanding. Verse 2. My soul is alert to receive the wisdom of the wisest immortals and impart it to my understanding. Verse 3. My soul gathers the wisdom I desire and pours it into the currents of my conscious thought. Again, verse 1. My soul gives its intuitions of immortal life and its principles to my understanding. My soul is alert to receive the wisdom of the wisest immortals and impart it to my understanding. Verse 3. My soul gathers the wisdom I desire and pours it into the currents of my conscious thought. One more time. Verse 1. My soul gives its intuitions of immortal life and its principles to my understanding. Verse 2. My soul is alert to receive the wisdom of the wisest immortals and impart it to my understanding. Verse 3. My soul gathers the wisdom I desire and pours it into the currents of my conscious thought. All right, Creator, thank you. Thank you for showing us this. We could apply these to our spirits. We can create a Vortexian wave. Brethren, go ahead, Nazarene, post that. It's time for the end of the video. I want to thank you, brethren, for joining me. Creator, thank you for giving us this information where you basically showing us that you are preparing us to, you are really it seems like you are really preparing us, and it seems like you're going to make it known to our brethren who are laying down, who are stagnating, why it's important to read, why it's important to gather together, why it's important to affirm our soul, and we need to educate ourselves in order to do it. So, Creator, I just thank you for the opportunity to be with my brethren, have fellowship with one another. We're trying to walk in the light. Creator, pray that our shards, that we would be able to work with our shards, and that we would benefit to the absolute maximum while we are in this reality. Please, Creator, we ask, we pray in your name. Brethren, thank you for joining me. That's the best I can do for today. Please join me tomorrow. We're going to go back into this. We're going to talk about this. We're going to flesh it out real good. Flesh it out real good and see what else the Creator will give us. What new understanding that he'll give us as we go over. We learn how to confirm our soul. Brethren, thank you. And until I see you again, peace be unto you. See you tomorrow. Creator bless you mightily. Shalom.